Hey, sorry y'all. I know I look very crusty and dusty. I already know. Today was not a pretty day for your girl. Don't get mad at me, Justin, for saying it wasn't not a pretty day. Um, Let me see if this is working. No, it is not. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to display comments because I completely forgot to set it up before I started. And Twitch it is one of those things where you have to enable it and then you have to close OBS, restart OBS, and then it'll work. So, yeah, I won't be able to display comments today. Sorry. Absolutely sorry. But, yeah, today we're going to be reacting to Ben Shapiro. I'm not going to be reacting to everything he said because the first half of the video really has nothing to do with what I want to talk about. I mean, it kind of does. It gives you the reason why he even went into this topic to begin with. But what I want to talk about is from the position of somebody, from the position of somebody that would have been discriminated against, right? If we're talking about the Civil Rights Act, right? Why are you looking at me like that? Justin always looking at me crazy, making me think that something's wrong. He always looking at me crazy and make me second guess. Do I have something in my teeth? Or, he'll like look over to me and it would be like the weirdest look on his face. Oh well. But what's up, Arayas? But yeah. Today we're going to be talking about Ben Shapiro, okay? And how I actually very much so agree with what he said. And it's something that I think I've said on this channel before. I know I've said it in private to Justin plenty of times. And hopefully everyone here is open-minded enough, okay? Open-minded enough to hear my reasonings. And not only that, take the symbolism out of things and think about things logically, right? From the perspective of what's actually going to be better for people that are discriminated against, right? So, in the beginning, I didn't even change the title of the thing. Give me a second. I am completely out of order today. Give me a second. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Let me fix that. I still had the title from last time on there. Trash. This is a struggle stream. It was a struggle stream. Oh well. All right, so Ben Shapiro, basically in the beginning of the video, he's talking about how the conversation of baking cakes for same-sex couples and things like that has come up again. You know, they made it illegal to discriminate against that. And so he essentially went into a conversation about, you know, businesses having the right to choose who they want to serve. And he ended up talking about civil rights movement because that would open the door to this conversation, you know? And so typically I'll be like, you know, why you got to throw black people into this conversation? When it comes to other stuff, it's like, you know, black people, whatever happened to us and our struggles always get brought up into everybody else's stuff as either reason for validating other people's struggles. It's like, you know, it's like the civil rights movement with black people. It's like with black people. And it's not. It's absolutely not with black people. And he actually said it in the video. He said in the video, like, you can't possibly compare your sexual orientation to somebody's race, right? Because you could look at somebody and have no idea that they are homosexual or a lesbian or whatever their sexual preferences or proclivities are. You could look at someone and have not a damn clue what that is. But you look at a black person, unless they are Halsey, who is biracial, you gonna know that they are black, right? It's very obvious. You look at the hair texture, you look at the skin tone, facial features, all of that. It's very obvious. So it's like the discrimination that we face as black people is going to be different because it's purely based off of being able to literally see a characteristic and then react because of what you saw versus you having to interact with that person to fully know, right? And it's not the same as something you can dress up and dress down, right? Because a man could put on, you know, makeup and all this other stuff, and obviously your first mind is going to go to, oh, he's probably gay, right? But you don't have to put that on. You don't have to put the nails on. You don't have to put the makeup on. You don't have to put none of that stuff on. And you literally would have no idea that there's anything different about this individual, right? From the norm, okay, so to speak. Whereas with black people, we can't take our black skin off, okay? We can't just be like, you know what, today, I would be white today. I'll be a white, blonde-haired woman today. We can't do that, okay? Whereas, you know, other things where you dress and things like that, you can switch that up, right? We can switch that up. But anyways, he did go into that. I don't know where the timestamp is, though. Like I said, struggle streaming like a mug. I should have prepared more for this, but today was just not one of those days, man. Today was not one of those days, but let me see if I can find where he starts, and then I can go into my dialogue.
Will end up taking over in the law unless there is significant pushback from traditionally minded and frankly, rational. Leave your own home. No one cares. That's your business. That's not enough for people. That's not what they want. What they want is for you to celebrate. What they want is for you to bake. You're supposed to change all of that because they want you to change.
Let me find it where he really starts.
Comparison of sexual identity with race, for example, is completely specious. It is not the same thing whatsoever. The reason I say this is because race is, in fact, an immutable characteristic. This is why everyone still today, despite all of our wokeness, everyone still laughs when Rachel Dolezal, a white lady, claims that she is black. The reason everybody laughs is because that's absurd. You cannot be a white person who is black.
Period. Yeah. Period. Right? So, like you said, race is an immutable characteristic, right? You can't just turn it off. You can't turn it on and off, right? It's not something you choose. It's not something you could just turn on and off. Okay, so that he acknowledges that point. But it's later in the video that he says some things that I think is very interesting. And we need to really come to understanding about it.
That is not the same thing as sexual identity. Why? Because sexual identity, it's very difficult to explain how societally that is different from being a straight person who's been treated as a component of your capacity to make the segregation in the United States.
Okay, this is where he gets into it. Okay. And I'm going to let it play.
Action and private action. This is something that happened under the Civil Rights Act of 1965, and you understand the temporary necessity for it. In 1965, there was an attempt to destroy segregation in the United States correctly, to destroy racial discrimination in the United States correctly. However, what the Civil Rights Act of 1965 did is a couple of separate things. One, it said government can no longer discriminate because Jim Crow was, in fact, a government regime. Now, Jim Crow is a series of laws that existed in the states that mandated that restaurants, for example, have separate black and white areas. In Alabama, there are actual laws on the books mandating that if you were going to build water fountains, you had to have a black water fountain and a white water fountain. You had to have separate bathrooms. You had to have different restaurants. You had to have different components of the buses, right?
See, and that's another thing, that was systemic racism. That was systemic racism at its finest, where it was very easy for everyone to see, very easy for everyone to recognize, and for the government to mandate stuff like that is bull. That obviously, I don't think anyone really has an issue with civil rights movement coming around and getting rid of that. The government literally promoting racism and shit like that. Like, I'm pretty sure we can all agree that part of it is fine. I don't have an issue with them changing the structure of the government so that they can't sit over here and say, well, this is going to be racially segregated. This is going to be this. This is going to be that. Okay?
All of this was encoded in state law in Jim Crow states. And so the Civil Rights Act came along and said, you can't do that anymore. Correctly. That is right. And first of all, it should have been unconstitutional for states to do that in the first place after the 14th Amendment. Put that aside. Civil Rights Act comes and obliterates that. Fine, good. That's exactly what the Civil Rights Act should have done. Then the Civil Rights Act goes further. And the Civil Rights Act says that individuals can no longer in their businesses discriminate. Now, that is pretty clearly a violation of what the founders would have considered First Amendment freedoms.
Okay, and see, this is the part that I wanted to get to. And I hope that we can have an honest conversation about this, right? So the fact that businesses could no longer discriminate against, I find a very big problem with that, right? Think about it like this. Let's say you're just, on your travels, right? And you get to a town that a small little town that you don't really know much about. You don't live there. You're just trying to stop by, get a little something to eat, and then keep it moving, right? You go to this little town and you go to sit down and eat, and the government has already told these people that it is illegal for them to discriminate against you. They cannot turn you away. But let's say that the owner of that store has just a deep-rooted hatred for whoever the hell you are based on how you look, right? If you're a black person or Asian or because you're whatever characteristic it is, they hate you for it. And they are one of those disgusting people that will literally use their hate because they hate you so much. They would try to disrupt your life, even if you're just there to get a quick little meal and leave. You're not trying to really be a part of their life. You're not trying to really step on their toes. You're just trying to get what you get and leave, right? Some people are dangerous. Can we at least admit that some people are dangerous and some people are sneaky and some people are dangerous and sneaky? So let's say this person that hates you for a reason that you can't even control is back there preparing your food. And they know that sandwich finna go to you. They know that cup of water finna go to you. And they hate your ass. Do you really trust somebody that hates you to make your food? Do you really trust somebody that hates you to serve you a beverage? I certainly don't. If I know a mofo works somewhere and they don't like my ass, I'm not eating anything from that restaurant. I'm getting up and I'm leaving. Okay? But see, what went wrong with this whole civil rights movement and stuff like that is the fact that they told businesses that they cannot discriminate. So now you go to a place, they got a smile on your face, they got to pretend like they like you. Does that mean that they gonna not mess with your food? Does that mean you can trust the service? Hell to the no. Absolutely not. And furthermore, why would I as someone who works hard for their money, why would I want to spend my money patronizing businesses that hate me? That's the part that really, really just grinds my gears about civil rights movement is that you literally had black folks out here protesting to spend money with people that freaking hate their guts, begging to spend money, begging to empower through dollar bills. You know how sick and twisted that is? We were so brainwashed to sit over here and think that giving our money away to people that hate us is uplifting to us. Excuse me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I don't like you, last thing I'm going to do is give you my money. Last thing I'm going to do is patronize your business. So when it comes to, you know, this whole thing about businesses not being allowed to discriminate, it really opened the door for that insidious racism that we talk about today, where folks literally cannot come out and just say how they feel and stand on it. They can't come out and be honest about whatever racism they have in their heart, because there's repercussions for it, right? And it makes it very difficult for us as black people or other peoples that are discriminated against to really pinpoint those who are out to get us, those who are out to hurt us in some way, shape, or form. You go to the hospital, you don't know who got racist beliefs in there. And they over here messing with your organs, messing with your medications. And then we wonder why certain things happen to us. It's because we out here trusting folks that hate us. And we've created a system where these people don't feel comfortable enough to come out and just say how they feel. So then it makes that vetting process just that much harder. Okay? It makes that vetting process just that much harder. Whereas back in the day, it was easy. You go into an establishment, they say, well, we don't want your kind here. Oh, good to know. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. So I can go on about my way and go somewhere where I am welcome, where people want to serve me and not spit in my food or not try to harm me in some way, shape, or form. Where I can go spend money with people that actually see me as a human. Or, better yet, just spend money with my own people. Right? Circulate that dollar in-house before we go giving it to other cultures and other communities. So, I really think that we shot ourselves in the foot, right? We shot ourselves in the foot by demanding service from people that hate us. Because it's like, what kind of service you finna get? Is it safe? Are you safe in that situation? And it really put racists in the closet, right? That's why it's so difficult now. You know, that insidious racism, which we complain about so much, but it's like we created it. We created it by making it socially unacceptable, to be honest. We made it socially unacceptable, to be honest. So you got a bunch of people out here lying through their teeth, but that don't mean they're not going to get their rocks off behind the scenes and try to harm you without your knowledge, smile in your face and then stab you in the back when you walk away. So I really, really, really wish that we could just rewind the clock, right? Rewind the clock. Obviously we can get rid of, you know, Jim Crow and things like that. That's fine. The government should not be sitting over here saying you have to have racism. But I don't agree with them saying you can't. Because I wish businesses that seek to do harm to us or people that seek to do harm to us were free to just turn us away and say they don't want to give us service, rather than putting them in a position of power where they can harm us and get away with it. And get paid for it. Right? So it's like you can tell people to go sit in the closet with whatever racial feelings or discriminatory feelings that they have. That doesn't mean that they're not going to act on it. It doesn't mean that they're going to somehow just see Jesus and not feel it because you told them that they can't act upon it. So that's where I'm at with that. I really, really wish we could just rewind the clock and restructure that civil rights bill, and then also get black people to understand that spending money with people that hate you is not a flex. Okay? Sitting down in diners where people are spitting on you and kicking you and treat you like dirt is not a flex. A flex is circulating that dollar in-house, spending money at businesses that with people that look like you, building wealth within your community. That's a flex. Okay? What the Jewish people do in their community is a flex. Right? The Asian communities do it too. It's a flex. They're able to come up because they spend money with each other. They don't feel the need to go out and spend money with everybody else. It's like the civil rights era was it wasn't just a violent thing. It was a mind game, right? There was mental manipulation that happened there. It got us to feel it basically put us in a position where we pedestalize white businesses. Do y'all see that? We end up pedestalizing white businesses when we had businesses of our own. But we sitting over here fighting in the street, getting locked up, having dogs sicked on us, having water shot at us, like getting treated like crap to spend money with people that didn't want to deal with us. And another part of it that is really annoying is that if you talk to older generations and you bring this point up, they'll tell you how ungrateful you are. They'll tell you how ungrateful you are. Your ancestors did this and this. Well, my ancestors were misguided. They were misguided and they were manipulated. And just because you go through trials and tribulations under a false pretense doesn't mean I have to celebrate that. It doesn't mean that I have to sit over here and be happy about a situation that made things worse for us. Because while you might think, oh, it's better. I feel like the social aspect of it would have eventually gotten better, right, over time. Because you got people exposed to other people, different groups, they interact. That whole social aspect of it would have eventually gotten better over time. But those people that are racist in their hearts, they would have been fully loud and proud and been able to just come out and say it, and we would know who they are. Name and tag them. Okay? Oh, we know that mofo over there is racist because he said it right out his mouth. We know to avoid him. We know to stay away from him. We know not to patronize his businesses. We know to move better. But now everything is so closeted. Everything is so insidious. And it puts us in a very vulnerable situation. Extremely vulnerable. But you said, oh Lord, not Ben. JF, here's the thing. Broken clocks can be right twice a day. I'm not a fan of Ben Shapiro. Okay. I ain't no fan. But what he said in his video was real spiel. I agree. I absolutely agree. But let's continue.
Right? Freedom of association, freedom of speech. Right? All of this would have been considered pretty basic freedom stuff. Now, two things can be maintained at once, as always. You can be free to discriminate, and also you can be a terrible person for discriminating. Those two things hold together very easily, actually. Right? Freedom of speech applies to Nazis. Nazis are evil. They say evil, evil things. They believe evil things. The First Amendment still applies to them. And so, freedom does not mean that I approve of all the ways you use your freedom.
Exactly. I don't have to approve. Wait, I got them all jacked
However,
up. Okay. I'm going to be kind. Okay, I'll be kind with the freeze frames. Okay? Exactly. Just because I say that you are free to say whatever you want doesn't mean that I can't deal out some consequences for you talking crazy. For example, not patronizing your business. For example, not dealing with you. For example, people being ostracized from society because the way they believe is no longer acceptable within society. But they would still feel comfortable saying and expressing how it is that they feel. Expressing their discriminations. Because at the end of the day, At the end of the day, like, I think that the freedom of speech should definitely be protected, because I would rather know your hand than you being forced to hide it. I'd rather know what your cards are rather than the, government telling you have to hide that. You know? Please, I would much rather people who have those feelings within their soul just be able to say whatever they want, and that way you can move on. And this connected to his conversation about, people part of the LGBTQ community wanting to get cakes and stuff made for their celebrations, and businesses wanting to be able to turn them away. If you're a part of that community, why do you want to give your money to somebody that doesn't support you? Why? Why do you want to give your money? Why are you demanding that you give your money to somebody? Like, go to somebody that believes in what you believe and spend money with them. Empower their business instead of trying to force businesses that don't want to deal with your stuff to have to deal with you. Save your money. Spend it elsewhere. Spend it where you are loved, where you are appreciated. I don't get this. It seems like mental illness to me. It has to be. It has to be mental illness to me, as far as like wanting to spend money with people that don't like you.
For the federal government to come in 1965 and say that private persons, who are not the government, are now forbidden by law from discriminating in quote-unquote public accommodations, for example, is a violation of constitutional freedoms, even if you like the outcome of that. And this is an argument that Barry Goldwater famously made in 1964, and then he was ripped up and down because, again, people made the dishonest argument that if you are in favor of the freedom, this must mean that you like all the ways that the freedom is used, which, of course, is the road to fascism. Because if you think that freedom is secondary on a governmental level, that freedom on a governmental level is secondary to how the freedom is used, meaning we only give you freedom if you use it in the ways that we approve, you don't actually have the freedom. The government.
Exactly. That's facts. That's facts. Freedom is freedom. If you don't have the freedom to use that freedom within the ways you want to use that freedom, it's not freedom at that point. It's not. It's the illusion of choice. It's the illusion of freedom at that point. So that's facts.
It just gets to tell you what to do each and every day. This is a point made by Christopher Caldwell in his book, The Age of Entitlement. There's been essentially a second constitutional bargain drawn by the Civil Rights Act of 1965 and the acts that came immediately afterward in terms of compelling private behavior that never would have been foreseen by anybody at the time of the founding or for most of Western history. The idea that the government could force you into doing these things in your private life. All right.
Okay. See, his video, it was only a little small portion I wanted to react to, but that's a bigger conversation, right? I don't think we should be going out of our way as Black people, as discriminated against peoples, as whatever kind of people, to patronize and spend money and uplift communities that don't like us. Okay? Why fight for the right to uplift people that hate you? And so I think when it comes to civil rights era, ancestors, and things like that, conversations that have to do with particularly Black community, because that's the community I come from. I can't speak on other people's community in depth the way I can speak on mine, right? I honestly think we need to have a honest conversation where we take all the symbolism, okay? We take all the symbolism out of the conversation. We take all that, well, you should just be grateful that your ancestors did this. We need to take that out of the conversation as well, because our ancestors could have set us up for failure. And you're sitting over here telling us to be grateful for the situation that we're in, right? And honestly, I feel like a lot of us think this way because of the illusion that we're doing a lot better. But if you look at the statistics when it comes to wealth, we're headed towards zero. And we're not that far from it right now, right? We're so much, we're like, one statistic said 13% of the population, and then another one said 19% of the population. But even if it's either or of those, and our percentage of the wealth is less than 0.5%, and they said by 2050, that motherfucker will be zero. How can you say that we're in a better position when we have no resources? No ownership. And yeah, you can point to the few rich rich black people that you know or you see or celebrities. Those are just rich slaves, okay? They don't really own much. And as you've seen with Kanye, a lot of that stuff could be just taken away like that. So what actually have we gained besides the idea of comfort? The idea of comfort, because in actuality, we're not freaking comfortable. At least not most of us are actually really comfortable. So it's one of those things where we have to just be honest about it and stop sitting over here being all, oh, well, my ancestors did this, so now I have to be so appreciative of it. No, let's call a spade and be honest about the outcomes of certain decisions. Okay? We can mourn loss, right? We can mourn loss, we can mourn tragedy, all those things. But until we have honest conversations about what the civil rights movement and all these other things actually got us, until we can be honest about that, we're never going to make better decisions, right? We're never going to make better decisions so that we can better ourselves in our country, okay? So, there really isn't too much else I wanted to say about this. This is going to be a really quick stream. It's going to be a really, really quick stream. Come in, come out. It could have been a video. It could have been a quick little video, but y'all voted for a live stream, so I did a live stream. What's up, Mrs. Apophis? I see you got your own your own YouTube account, because before it was Mr. Apophis. It was just Apophis, and you would just type Mrs. Apophis. What's up, Mrs. Apophis? What's up, Des? Hey, sis. But yeah, y'all, if you run into a business that doesn't want to serve you, think of it as a blessing. Okay? Think of it as a blessing that you did not have to go in there and risk your health and safety dealing with people that don't like you. Okay? I would literally, if this were to happen to me, I walk into a business and a mofo says, I don't serve your kind. Thank you, sir. Have a nice day. I'm leaving. I'm walking out. I'm getting the egg. I'm getting that up out of there. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know what it is and what it isn't. Instead of that smile on your face and then whole time they could be poisoning you. You have no idea. They could be giving you the oldest piece of meat that they was trying to throw away. They were supposed to throw away, and they're like, oh, this nigga came in here, I'll just serve him this. I'd rather you just turn me away at the door. I would much rather you just turn me away at the door. So, honestly, I really wish that... I just realized you typed Scruggle Screams. You didn't even say Struggle Streams. You said Scruggle Screams. I just realized that. But anyways, y'all. I think the world would be a better place if folks were just honest. That's essentially what I'm asking for. Honesty. If you have these feelings in your soul about black people, be honest about it. And I don't think that, we should be trying to get these folks necessarily fired. We should just know where they are and avoid them. Avoid them. Move smarter. As opposed to forcing folks in the closet and allowing them to do all sorts of fuck shit behind the scenes. But I digress. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay? Maybe we should be forcing people to hide their racism or their discrimination, hide it, and then we still go in and give them our money that we work so hard for, give them our money so that they can potentially harm us. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a flex. Maybe. Y'all gotta let me know. Y'all gotta let me know. But that's it for today. Maybe gaming stream tomorrow. Maybe I'll feel a little bit more, I don't know, lively. Maybe I'll feel a little more lively tomorrow. But I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Thank y'all for tuning in. Hear my little spiel. And yeah, I approve the message of Ben Shapiro's video, that particular video. I approve that message. I agree wholeheartedly. And yeah, spend your money with people that actually like you. Spend your money with people that you can trust. And stop trying to fight for your right to spend money with folks that don't like you. Deuces.
If you like this content, you already know what to do. Like the video, share the video, leave a comment, and definitely subscribe. In the description box will be all of my sneaky links, including Instagram, Twitter, and the Sandraland Discord server. So go ahead and check that out in the description below. Thank you so much, and I will see you either with the next live stream or the next video. Bye!